Please. If you could just spare $1 for some broth. My steakhouse, barely clinging to survival, was on the verge of closing for good. And here, stepping into my rundown establishment, was a couple just as tattered as the place itself. Outside, snow was coming down steadily. They looked like they'd been through something rough. But more than anything, I was simply happy to have customers after so long. All right, a 1-pound steak, coming right up. I'd opened this place 35 years ago, driven by the joy of seeing someone's face light up from a good meal. Let me make this couple happy, maybe one last time. In my heart, I thought of it as a little Christmas gift from me to them. Little did I know, though, that this act would soon change my life forever. My name's Irvin, and I'm a 60-year-old steakhouse owner. I've been running this place for 35 years now. I hate to admit it, but the business has hit rock bottom. It's barely surviving. I don't even have enough for renovations, so the place looks every bit as run down as it is. Sigh. Another day of prepping food just to watch TV alone afterward. Maybe it's time to let go. Back in the day, I'm proud to say, this place was buzzing, packed with customers, and full of energy. But about 15 years ago, suddenly, competing steakhouses started popping up in the area. They were chain restaurants with a low-price concept, aiming to serve as many people as possible. These franchises were popular, popping up everywhere. You've probably seen one of them before. Even out here in the country, these chains had finally spread to my town. It felt like an inevitable invasion. My place was quite the opposite. I took pride in handcrafted meals and safe, quality ingredients. Of course, all that attention to detail came with higher costs. Around here, people don't have much to talk about, so when that new chain restaurant opened, it was all anyone could discuss. Maybe it suited the times better, but gradually, more and more of my customers went over to the chain, and business started fading. 3 years after that chain arrived, my little steakhouse had pretty much lost the battle. By the time I realized it, it was too late. The taste of my food was still unbeatable, though. I had been completely outdone in terms of business savvy. Oh yay, just the other day, I saw the owner of that chain restaurant on TV, being celebrated as some kind of business genius. Even as customers dwindled, there was still one elderly couple who kept coming to my place with their grandchild in tow. "Welcome, I'll get your usual ready." "Thank you." This couple always ordered steak. I was truly grateful for them. Being regulars, they'd bought a bundle of meal tickets in advance, which they used to pay each time. They'd often chat quietly with the child, though their voices were too soft for me to catch much. It became my routine to keep an eye on their table while I watched TV. They would always enjoy my signature steak, then give a small nod before leaving. "Thank you for the meal." "Anytime, thanks for coming back." But even those simple, happy days didn't last forever. One by one, even the few customers I had stopped coming entirely. 5 years passed since that chain restaurant opened. I hadn't seen that young boy with them in a long time. As the days went by, with fewer and fewer customers, the smug, arrogant manager of the chain restaurant, Woody, started stopping by just to taunt me. "Still pretty slow, huh? Must be nice to just watch TV all day. I'm swamped with business on my end." "Shut it. And for the record, I don't have a steak for you." Ouch, cold. "Hey, by the way, I haven't seen that couple with the kid here recently, have you? What's it to you?" "Oh, don't get all prickly just because I hit a nerve." "All right, enough already. Get back to your place." "Don't worry, I'm not planning to hang around this dump any longer than I need to." Sigh. What's his deal, anyway? getting mocked by someone younger than me, and not even having a good comeback. If the old me from the good days saw me now, I wonder what he'd say. It's frustrating, but I had no choice but to admit defeat. Maybe it's time to close up shop for good. Thoughts like that have been on my mind more and more lately. It's been about 10 years since I stopped seeing regular customers, and I managed to scrape by, but my health and savings have finally reached their limits. One day, when I was hanging on the edge of closing down, the last customer walked into my place. Somehow, I just knew in my gut that this would be the last one. "Welcome. Take any seat you like." And wouldn't you know it, it was a couple dressed in worn-out clothes, looking exhausted. They looked just like me and this old place. I found myself thinking that as they sat down. "Excuse me, this is a huge favor to ask, but could you spare us a little sauce for just $1? I sensed they were really going through something tough. They were a young couple, but life had clearly taken its toll on them. I could relate. "Sure thing, £1 steak. Coming up." "What? Oh no, that's not. What are you doing? We don't have that kind of money. I told you we should have gone somewhere else." "But, look, he's already started making it. I mean, we didn't exactly order it. We'll just have to talk to him and apologize when it gets here." I was excited to serve them my prized steak. They looked so confused, especially seeing the £1 steak, the priciest thing on the menu, arrive when they clearly couldn't afford it. "We're sorry, we didn't mean to ask so much. We really don't have the money to pay for this. I know you went to all that trouble, and it's awful for us to say this now, but we're really sorry." It looked like I'd put them in an awkward spot, trying to be generous, but just ending up making them feel more anxious in their already rough state wasn't what I intended. My face has a reputation for being a bit scary, but I tried my best to give them a gentle look. "Hada, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the meal. Today's actually the last day for this place." "What? I've been able to stay open all these years because of good folks like you. When someone's in need, I just can't ignore it, really. So, if you could at least finish it without leaving any behind, that would mean a lot to me." "Leave any behind? No way. We'll gladly eat every last bite." As I prepared the meal, I felt an unexpected joy just having customers visit on the brink of closing. All those days without customers had driven me to refine my craft, constantly improving my steak recipes. The couple, with tears in their eyes, eagerly devoured the steak. It's delicious, really amazing. Yay, it has a nostalgic taste. It's incredibly good." I watched them from the corner of my eye, as usual, while pretending to watch TV. Somehow, it brought back old memories, things I thought I'd forgotten. "Thank you so much. That was incredible. We're so moved." The taste reminded us of something warm and familiar. "Thank you for your kindness to people like us. Really, it was wonderful. I can't believe such a kind owner's place like this is closing. Believe me, I'm just glad you were here on my last day. I thought I'd be shutting this place down all alone. Thank you." As they expressed their thanks with gentle bows and slightly sad faces, they reminded me of the older couple who used to come here so often with their grandchild. I realized, with a sense of peace, that running this place had truly been worth it. For the first time in a long while, I could feel that wholeheartedly. After they left, I started cleaning up and reminiscing about the years gone by. And before I knew it, tears began to well up in my eyes. There had been so many experiences, but somehow I felt that if I were to be born again, I'd find myself back here, grilling steaks. With those thoughts, I finished my final day at the restaurant. The next day, as planned, a demolition crew showed up outside the restaurant. Seeing them there, It truly hit me that this place was really going away. Is it all right if we start? Yes, go ahead. As I braced myself for the end, thinking that once the work began, it would feel final, I suddenly saw that couple from yesterday, now dressed in clean, elegant clothing, rushing up. Wait, please, hold off on starting for a moment. Who are you two? I'm so sorry to just appear like this, but could we speak with you for a moment? Would you consider letting us take over this place? Wait, you two? From yesterday? Yes, this is who we are. The man took a business card from his pocket and handed it to me. No way. This is that famous company that was on TV recently. Yes, we've been fortunate to have some success. Are you really the president of such a big company? Yes, I have decision-making authority. If you're willing, we'd love to help. The couple from yesterday, now dressed sharply, turned out to be the heads of a major advertising corporation. Their company was a household name, known for commercials that aired on national TV. I never would have guessed they were such prominent people. This is incredibly generous, but it's also sudden. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry for surprising you, but we couldn't stop thinking about it all night. We'll cover the demolition crew's costs, so please, would you consider giving it another shot? That's such a generous offer. But why were you? Why did you come in like that yesterday? Yesterday, we were just sightseeing in the area and ended up losing our wallet somewhere along the way. We searched everywhere but couldn't find it. We were at our wits' end. I'm so sorry for causing trouble. Irvin, we were so moved by your warmth and the incredible steak. I see. You saved us. This morning, I had one of our staff bring us our things, and we came here first thing to see you. It felt strangely familiar, like a story I'd heard before. Then it hit me like something from an old folk tale about repaying kindness. I wasn't expecting anything in return, but it felt surreal, like I'd stepped into the world of a storybook. As I pondered this, the waiting demolition crew chimed in. Excuse me, sir, for us, as long as we get paid, it's all the same. However, we do have a schedule, so if you're going through with the demolition, we should start soon. Right, of course. Sorry. Irvin, what do you think? I'd be honored to support you fully. We're professionals in attracting customers, so please leave that part to us. They had a point. I wasn't sure if they knew much about steak, but when it came to bringing in customers and running a business, there probably weren't many better than them. With their help, maybe I could keep going just a little longer. For the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope. All right, I think I'd like to give it one more try. Would you help me? Absolutely. Of course. They looked at each other with a smile, then turned to me with a confident nod. All right, we'll be off then. Send the bill to us. And sorry again for the inconvenience. No problem. Looks like things worked out for the best. Thank you. Sorry for all the trouble. After the demolition crew left, the three of us decided to relax with some steak and chat. Here you go. Enjoy. Thank you. Looks delicious. It's just as great as I remember. I've always been meticulous about using the best ingredients. Would it be all right if we bought a bunch of meal tickets from you? Of course. This brings back memories. It's just, someone like you used to come here with a child and bought meal tickets in bundles of 15. They'd come by often. I knew it. So it was them. Is everything all right? That was us, the man said with a smile. What? That family of 3 you were talking about, that was me and my parents. I'm so glad. I could never forget the taste. Yesterday, when I took a bite, it felt so nostalgic. Wait, you mean the steak house you've always talked about? But what are the odds? I thought it might be possible, but after hearing that story, I knew it had to be. This place was close enough to where we used to live. Hold on a second. What's going on? What are you two talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. We got a little carried away. The child you mentioned from that family. That was me. Until around 10 years ago, I used to come here with my parents until I was in the later years of elementary school. It seemed that the husband, Monty, had indeed been to my restaurant before. The child who used to come here so often with that elderly couple, the loyal customers who came for years, was none other than Monty himself, now standing right in front of me. I'm so happy we found it. Every time we ate steak, he'd talk about this place from his childhood. I can't believe it, but sometimes life brings us these strange connections. I was very young, so my memories were fuzzy, but to think that we'd come back here by chance to the place my parents adored. Wait, are you crying? Really? A grown man. Can you blame me? I don't have that many memories with my parents. Yay, I understand. So this really is that place. I've wanted to come back for so long, but my parents passed away suddenly, and I ended up being taken in by relatives far away. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that your parents had passed. After I was taken in, I didn't even have a way to search for this place. Did the taste live up to your memories? Absolutely. If anything, it's even better. I'm glad to hear that. Even with so few customers, I kept experimenting and perfecting my recipes every day. True dedication, right there. I'm deeply touched by Irvine's commitment to his customers and his passion for the craft. It means a lot to hear you say that. Now, keep on eating. As we reminisced, the chain restaurant manager, Woody, showed up again, ready to mock us. Well, what a rare sight. Customers in your place. Excuse me, and who are you? This guy's a manager of the nearby chain restaurant. What do you want this time? No need to be so prickly, Irvin. We're in the same business. Let's try to get along. Judging by your attitude, I'd say you're being pretty disrespectful toward him. Oh, and who are you to lecture me, outsider? Enough. Just tell me what you're here for. All right, don't bite my head off. I was just saying that this place is an eyesore, you know. I mentioned it to the mayor recently. When I saw the demolition crew here, I figured they'd take care of it, but then I noticed they left, so I just thought I'd check in. What are you talking about? This area is going through some major development, right? Irvine's place is old and falling apart. People in the neighborhood say it's creepy, and the mayor's office has gotten complaints too. There's talk about having it torn down. The suddenness of it all took me by surprise. It was like a bolt from the blue. I couldn't believe so much was happening at once, but from Woody's tone and the smug look on his face, I could tell he'd already set things in motion. Was I really going to end up crushed by this guy? The thought made me feel so powerless. But of course, Monty wasn't about to stay silent in the face of this. How could you? What authority do you have to be discussing this with the mayor? Wait, aren't you the mayor's nephew? What? That's a blatant abuse of power. Whoa, calm down. No need to jump to conclusions. Besides, no one's going to listen to some loser's complaints. But spreading rumors, that's dangerous territory. And if I refuse to leave, I expected that. Well, then I might just have to come by every day to remind you. Maybe a few rougher customers might start visiting too. What? Are you threatening him now? Threatening? Oh, come on, don't exaggerate. I'm just saying what could happen. Anyway, it's already been decided. Better watch your back starting tomorrow, Irvin. After saying his piece, Woody headed back to his restaurant. I felt a chill. I was honestly scared. I'm already 60. If something happened, I wouldn't have the strength to fend it off. Just a moment ago, I was ready to close the place down for good. Maybe this is the right time to let it go. Maybe it's time to finally shut down the restaurant for Raul. This is outrageous. There's no way he should get away with tactics like that. It's hard to believe people like him still exist. Well, it's a small town. These things can happen here. Don't give up. Leave this to us, Monty said, resolute. You've already done enough. Just seeing a glimmer of hope again was more than I could have asked for. I feel bad for the tickets you bought, but maybe this is where it ends for me. Don't say that, Orvin. It's not over yet. We all turned to look as Monty's wife, Phoebe, who had been quiet up until now, spoke with a newfound strength in her voice. We're pros at social media, remember. If the public caught wind of this, it'd be game over for him. Phoebe, are you serious? Don't underestimate me. I may be a CEO's wife, but I know my way around a battle. What do you mean? We recorded everything he just said. That's brilliant. You're planning to use that recording. Yes, but not yet. I have a feeling he's got more to hide, and we'll hold this as our trump card. We'll investigate and make sure he can't force you out. Phoebe, you're incredible. Irvin, let us handle this. All right. I'm out of my element with all this new stuff, so I'll be relying on you for everything. Please, lend me your strength. From there, we started discussing how to tackle this crisis together. They called in a few people from their company and held a meeting. First, we decided that I would enter into a partnership contract with Monty's company. I would retain decision-making authority, while the day-to-day operations would be managed by Monty's team. I had expected a full buyout, so this arrangement came as a surprise. But since it was Monty's suggestion, I gratefully accepted. For the time being, we'll cover all operating costs and handle the restaurant's management. Of course, we'll keep you fully in the loop, Orvin. Thank you. In return, we'd like you to stay on in the kitchen. You focus solely on the steak, and we'll take care of promoting the restaurant and attracting customers. By each focusing on what we're best at, we'll turn this place around. As for the eviction issue, another team will be looking into it, gathering evidence and spreading the word to ensure everyone can do their part. I can't thank you enough. I'm so grateful for your support. I couldn't express my gratitude enough for Monty and Phoebe's support. The next day, with their assistance, I reopened the restaurant. Under Monty's branding strategy, we advertised my place as a charmingly shabby steakhouse. For years, I'd poured my heart into every steak, always using the highest quality ingredients and focusing on satisfying each customer. While I hadn't paid much attention to the exterior, which was now drawing some criticism, Monty's approach turned that into a unique selling point. With Monty's powerful advertising, the impact was incredible. By the second day of reopening, we had bookings for an entire week. I poured all my skill into every steak I served, and the new customers, drawn by the advertising, were highly impressed. In no time, the restaurant was booming, busier than it had ever been, even surpassing the liveliest days of the past. This is incredible. It's the natural outcome, Irvin. Your steak has a way of capturing people's hearts and keeping them coming back. It's all thanks to you and Monty. Truly, thank you. We're not done yet, Irvin. The eviction problem still needs resolving. Yes, you're right. Woody's restaurant was built on the concept of low prices and serving as many people as possible. He never cared about connecting with individual customers. He was solely focused on making money. And numerous complaints about his staff's behavior had surfaced. At the same time, there were just as many positive reviews, seemingly balancing things out. Phoebe's investigative team, however, gradually uncovered the full story behind Woody's restaurant. First, they discovered that Woody had been manipulating online reviews. According to a former part-time employee, whenever a negative review came up, staff members were instructed to quickly post positive reviews about the same aspects criticized. If there was a comment about rude service, they'd counter it with praise for the staff's politeness. Interviews with former employees also revealed another troubling aspect of his chain. The ingredients they used were of the lowest quality, items that never made it to mainstream markets, and were bought in bulk for almost nothing. Storage was also poorly managed, and expired ingredients were frequently served to customers. I've never heard a good word about Woody. He's hard on his employees, too. No one seems to last under him for long. Interesting. So that manager must have a lot of patience. Or rather, he's got connections keeping him there. Yes, exactly. It turns out there's more to this story. Woody's the nephew of the current mayor, who happens to be the brother of the chain's owner. You're kidding. It turns out the mayor and Woody have issued forced eviction notices to several other businesses, just like they did to Irvine's. It's a clear case of abusing their power. This is unforgivable. It's our turn to fight back. Woody had been persistently pushing for our eviction. At times, he even sent groups of rough-looking thugs to my restaurant. They would barge in without waiting in line, disrupting the other customers. Through our investigation, we found out these thugs were Woody's old school friends from the area. Once Phoebe's team gathered enough evidence, they began exposing the truth about Woody's restaurant and the surrounding issues on social media. People had already been suspicious of the oddly positive reviews, so this exposure quickly resonated with many. While Woody's management initially denied the allegations about expired ingredients and their shady sourcing, whistleblowers, former staff, and local suppliers came forward to reveal the truth, confirming the accusations. The press conference they held only made things worse, as their defensive attitude angered the public, ultimately causing many of Woody's franchise locations to shut down. He's finally shown his true colors. So this is the shady side you mentioned. Looking down on people, neglecting both his employees and his customers. Who would want to eat food from someone like that? I believe there's room for all kinds of businesses, but those that disregard quality won't last. Meanwhile, in response to the relentless eviction notices directed at us, the mayor publicly released complaints that had supposedly been submitted to the city, claiming they justified the action. But when Phoebe released the recording of Woody's threats, those complaints lost all credibility. At the same time, allegations of illegal contributions surfaced against the mayor. And with that scandal, Woody lost his powerful support. Like his other locations, his business ultimately shut down. You'll pay for this. Mark my words, he snarled. Oh, still haven't learned, huh? You know we're recording this, too. Shut up, I'll get my revenge on all of you. All right then. If you keep this up, I'll just have to call the police. So what's it going to be? Damn you all. What a hopeless case. With the closure of the rival restaurant, the one that had driven away my customers, my steakhouse's popularity became rock solid. Word spread through social media and television, and soon we were frequently visited by TV crews for interviews. Now the restaurant was packed with a steady flow of customers, and even the city approached us with a collaboration offer. Though they had tried to evict me not long ago, I accepted the offer gratefully, without mentioning it. As the restaurant grew in popularity, the increased use seemed to take its toll on our meal ticket machine, which eventually broke down. We decided to replace it with a new one. While cleaning the restaurant and organizing the tickets, I came across an old shelf and found 2 faded tickets left behind by the elderly couple who used to be regulars here. The next day, Monty and Phoebe visited the restaurant in their free time. Even after the restaurant had stabilized and the eviction issues were resolved, they continued to stop by often. Welcome. A £1 steak. Right, yes, please. By the way, Monty, it turns out your parents had already paid for that steak. I handed him the faded meal tickets, and he teared up at the sight. After a moment, he started speaking quietly. The only real conversations I had with my parents were here, at this steakhouse. What do you mean? The company I run now originally belonged to my parents. They were always busy, and a housekeeper took care of most things at home. But when they had the time, they'd bring me here. Ask me about school, about my hobbies, all over a steak. I see. This place, and those moments, meant everything to me. Orvin, your steaks saved me so many times. And on that day, you saved my life. Phoebe added softly. Oh, it's nothing that dramatic, but I'm glad I didn't give up on this place. Thank you. On weekends, they even started helping out around the restaurant. I told them they were too busy and should relax, but they insisted, saying, "We're here because we love it. Don't worry about us." I'm a lucky man. Sure, there were plenty of hardships, but right now, what I feel is pure joy. I've decided to keep going, to stay active in this restaurant until the end of my days. As long as there are people out there who crave my steak, I'll keep this place open. Maybe those who've passed on are watching over me from above. I'm not ready to join them just yet, but hold on to a ticket and wait for me.